Welcome to today's video. We're going to quickly go over all of my quarter one reading stats for the year of 2025. We'll go over reading goals, where we're at, all of that really quick. So let's jump in. Let's start with reviewing what are our actual reading goals. Goal one was to read 80% or more of my physical TBR, so books I have an actual physical copy of. At the beginning of the year, we were at 68.91%, and we're ending the first quarter at 70.32%. So really good progress. We're on our way. The second goal was 25 in 2025. So that was essentially what that was is I picked out 25 books I wanted to read in 2025. I'm doing a whole vlog. I have parts 1 and 2 up. I'm working currently on part 3. So go check those out. I will have anything related to that linked. As that being said, that means I have read 8 of the 25 in 2025. So great progress on that. Goal 3, rereads, 12 rereads. I'm currently at 5. Much more than I thought it would be at this point in the year, but at the beginning of the year, I was doing a lot of rereading, not so much right now. But I do have some that I plan to read. I just did a series update and I mentioned I want to reread The House in the Cerulean Sea. So that brings us into goal 4, which is the series challenge. And that's just essentially trying to finish series that I like, starting, DNFing, etc. I will have any links to that down below. I would love it if you guys would go watch some other videos, engage, like, comment, subscribe, doing all the YouTubey things. Goal 5 was for annotation, and this doesn't really have a goal other than there's some stuff that I want to annotate. I've been noticing that I like to do it more with like informative books than maybe fiction. So there is a few nonfiction books that I do want to annotate. I just haven't done it yet. So I do have some of those. I'll kind of point them out as we go. But now that we're updated on the goals, let's see where we were at. Just a quick reminder, quarter 1 of 2025 is going to include December of 2024 through March of 2025, and that's just so that anything that happens in December I can get my like end of year stuff, and so it'll wrap up. So just a little FYI. So let's look at the number of books. We read 38 books. An average number of pages was 347. Physical TBR were at 70.32%. The average time on my TBR was 17.2 months. I averaged 3.6 stars. I did buy 37 books. I spent $557.47 for an average cost of $15.07 per book. We'll talk about purchase books here shortly, but let's go into ranking. So I only DNF'd one book, which was It by Stephen King. This was in my TBR jar part 2 video, I believe. I'll have it linked. Just wasn't for me. So that was the only one I DNF'd this quarter. These are my 5 stars. So this was reread. These are rereads. They were Harry Potter's kind of there more just for the like nostalgia purpose of it. But the 2 of the memoirs that I read were on there. So that's really great. These are all my 4 stars, which there were some good ones. Likes, rereads. These are all of my 3 stars, and that can be anywhere from like a 3 to a 3.75. And then these are all of my 2 stars, not so favorites, stuff like that. Books I annotated Hollow Places, Rebel Rose, Their Vicious Games, The Only Purple House in Town. I think those are the only ones I annotated, so not a lot, but a few. So we had 7 2 stars, and those range from 2 to 2.75. No major dislikes. I do have some that I really didn't like and some that just didn't do. But again, any book reviews that I have, I will have them linked. Now to the books I purchased this quarter. Let's preface that because this includes January, December, April, March. March is my birthday month, so I did buy actually just a few books. And then secondly, in December, I purchased all the books I wanted for the 25 in 2025. In hindsight, was that the smartest decision? No. But at the time, it sounded like a really great idea. So that's what I did. I purchased 12 in December, 15 in January, and 5 in February and March. And of those, I've actually already read 16 of 37, so that's not too bad. But I will just review really quickly all my 5 stars. So obviously, Harry Potter. This is nostalgia for me. This is YA fantasy. Harry Potter, young wizard, finds out that he's this super notorious wizard, gets invited to Hogwarts, and the man who shall not be named, Voldemort, is after him, and everyone's there to protect him. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Hagrid, Dumbledore, Professor McGonagall, there's all of them, and we love it. The next one was Girl Girls Don't Die by Christina Henry. This follows 3 different stories. What were their names again? Celia, Allie, and Maggie. Each one is stuck in a very classic book trope. So for instance, Celia, the first one, is stuck in a cozy murder mystery. She has to figure out how to get out. Allie is stuck in a closed circle mystery slasher, and then Maggie is in like a Hunger Games kind of dystopian game type thing, and they're all trying to fight for their lives, and they end up finding a way. They all get connected and go and save the day. Really fun, really plays on the classic tropes that you see in these stories, and just really well executed, really well paced. The way it all ties in yet keeps them separate, very well executed. Men Have Called Her Crazy by Anna May Reed Tendler. I'm just going to go ahead and talk also about The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I'm really loving memoirs right now, biography memoirs. I was a big Gilmore Girls fan, so I had a feeling I was going to like this. I didn't know there was so much to her history, especially with Broadway and some of those really big things that Kelly Bishop did, and that was really eye-opening. Definitely gave me a lot more appreciation for who she is and her character. Anna Marie Tendler is an artist who I didn't know prior to this. She has some suicidal ideation, and she goes after COVID or during COVID to get some help in an in-house rehabilitation center. Her stories are fascinating. The way she talks about the current and her past, how they come together, she brings in those stories. She does a really good job of that. I still wish that we could know exactly what her original therapist was thinking. I'm sure she does too. But yeah, I think that both of these are really well written. They show who these women were in such a way that you are intrigued and you just want to learn more about them. And to me, this, especially like The Men Have Called Her Crazy, shows you that just because like you don't have to know somebody specifically or like have some like history with them to really appreciate their story and what story they do have to tell. The last one is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is a fiction about a young girl who goes to a boarding school in Maine. She does get groomed and taken advantage of. I think what I really like about this book is I think the author does a really good job of showing how a victim can be hurt and think that they are consenting, but they're not, and how much this situation can really be messed with, because Vanessa really thinks like, I'm not a victim, but you see how it's been warped, and still some of the struggles that she deals with long after it's happened as an adult, all those things. So I think it's a very well done book. The conversations that it has and the topics is really great. So I think it was really well done. I'm not going to go over like my actual book haul, and that's just because I have a little one here who's wanting some attention and I would like to give him that attention. So I will see you on the next one. Bye.